How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Listen, congratulations on this. I'm so intrigued because here you are, a veteran of the challenge, and here we are 20 years later. What were you thinking, my friend?
Oh, listen, I knew there was an audience for it. When I sent out that tweet in August and it went viral and Us Weekly picked it up, I knew I was onto something, and it solidified that when we released the trailer for the show on Paramount Plus, and we got over 5 million views in the first week. So I knew we had, as they say on the streets, a banger, and I'm just so happy that it's going and people are loving it. Whether it's fans or press like you guys, they are loving it. It's tugging on their nostalgic heartstrings. It is bringing them back to that time in life where everything was simple with the music, and I couldn't be more thrilled.
Oh, absolutely. But I wanted to ask you, first of all, I mean, not only are you back as a competitor, and that's where I was going with what were you thinking? Because, our bodies are not the same 20 years later. So what
Well,
was it like for you? What was it like for you? Because I'm sure, look, I know you're in shape and everything, but it's not the same.
listen, I like to describe myself as like an old rusty tractor in a barn, right? So it looks rusty, but you start it up, and once you get the engine revved, it can take out the side of a barn, and that's kind of how I'm built. But you know, let's be honest. I'm 49 years old. I was the oldest guy there. I knew it was going to be grueling physically, mentally, and emotionally. And when I say, was I expecting what we got? Absolutely. It goes above and beyond what I thought in terms of how brutal this competition was, how mentally frustrating, and how, socially on point you had to be at every day. But I will say this. I was able to, and I think the entire cast was able to bring the fun back to the challenge. You can see in the first episode, the 90s dance party. Like, those are the moments that aren't in the script, so to speak, that I think fans are yearning for. That if we go more seasons, I think we want to really tap into those moments that fans just identify with and love. And that's what we did the first episode.
That's amazing. And I wanted to ask you too, because you are a producer on this. And was it hard to kind of put down the producer hat and then put on the competitor hat? Like, how do you
Well,
separate that?
Well, in the very beginning, I was heavily involved with the casting, right? Reaching out to folks, getting their availability, getting their interest, which was phenomenal. Everyone gave me the heads up and the thumbs up. And the beautiful thing about the All Star season is, we condensed the shooting schedule to 3 weeks. So lots of people that couldn't do a full challenge of 10 weeks were now available in terms of those OG cast members. But once I decided with Bunim Murray and Paramount Plus to then switch over and become a competitor, I kind of got out of the loop. Like, my secrets into the mothership stopped. So I didn't know the format when I left. I didn't know the games we would be playing. I really didn't even know who the host was going to be until we showed up. So I definitely didn't have a competitive advantage, but I just think it was poetic justice to have me back in the house with my Speedo ready to go.
Oh, well, for sure, your Speedo had to be ready to go. And you just mentioned the host. I mean, how cool that TJ was there. That's cool.
I think no one else could fill the shoes of TJ, and I think having him kind of bridges the gap of the first season, the challenge that's on now audience to our audience. So I know we have a fan base of millions from the OGs, but now having some of those newer fans come over, and TJ being a very, a reason for that is awesome. It's funny because after the show ended, TJ actually reached out to me and was like, "Hey, Mark, you know me, I've been doing this show dozens of times. This is the most fun I've ever had hosting a challenge." So even TJ got caught up in this nostalgic feel of seeing us all back and competing.
Yeah, what was it like for you guys, especially the first day that you all kind of got back together? I can't even imagine what that was like.
It was weird because we were in quarantine for 10 days in the same hotel. So you could kind of see each other through their windows every once in a while when we were out peeking out our windows. But other than that, it was like a dog chomping at the bit to go play in the yard. Like, that's how we all felt. So when we hit the house, you could see how excited we were. We were catching up, running around the house, just enjoying each other's company. And I think everyone showed up ready to compete and ready to give the best of their best in personalities as well. And I think you can see that from the first episode. I mean, Tech, who hasn't been on TV in years with the challenge, is hilarious. Beth, who's 52 years old, really shined in that first challenge. So it was just it was fun to see people back having a good time.
Have you been watching the show over the years, like with the new competitors, and how do you feel like it's changed, or what's your feeling about it?
I've watched sporadically over the years. I haven't been a consistent watcher, but I have my favorites. I still root for CT. I'm a big Corey fan as well. I always root for him. I became close with Devin over last year's holiday season. We did something here at Universal. So there's a lot of the challengers that I watch now that I root for. In terms of how it's changed, I think back in the day and how what I think we can prove and provide again is that you can bring that element of fun back in the challenge and not make it so visceral and nasty, because I see on social media now some of those cast members of the new show, they just go at each other. And I don't want that to be this challenge. We would make fun of each other in a lighthearted way, or you have to vote someone off, or vice versa. But there was never like that deep rooted, hatred that I think some cast members today might have toward each other. And if we can stay away from that, I think we're hitting the ball out of the park.
Yeah, it's really interesting because social media does bring a whole new level to things. I think with every show now that we watch, especially
Across
with
the board,
reality series.
100%, whether it's Survivor to Amazing Race to American Idol to whatever it is, there's always that instant, I like to call them keyboard cowboys that can go right on Twitter or right on Instagram and just shout out some stuff that's kind of nasty, which I don't want this to be that show. I want us to be all supportive, which we were. Even like Beth said, who's been, portrayed as a villain for so many years, she felt so supported being there. And, there's no bullying, I don't think, really in our show at all, which is nice to see. And, everyone that goes into elimination this year, as you see, I feel like there was validated reasons for it. So I'm happy with it.
That's great. That's really great. Okay, so Mark, the most important question I think everybody needs to know: how many bandanas did you bring along? We're going to see them.
If I had $1 for every question that I got, I'd be a millionaire. I bought many bandanas. I bought some standard solid colored bandanas. I actually bought a pink bandana, who you will see me holding. My mother is fighting stage 4 breast cancer right now, so I bought the pink bandana in her honor. But of course, I mean, it's like Superman not showing up with his cape, right? I had to bring the bandana.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we look forward to that. I can't wait for everybody to see how you make out on the show and the reunion, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So thank you so much for your time today, and best of luck with everything.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.